From the film industry to music, you know that moment when you listen to a song and realize that you may have heard the beat and melody on another track. Chances are you have. In music, there is sampling and then there is stealing. It would seem that two big international artists are battling just that. Dua Lipa is facing two separate cases of copyright infringement because of her hit Levitating. Then Ed Sheeran is currently embroiled in a copyright battle with grime artist Sammy Chokri and music producer Ross O'Donoghue, who allege that Shape of You uses portions of their song Oh Why, released back in 2015. But you have your say on this one. Well, to tell us more, we chat to Yanni Cronje, partner and trademark attorney at Adams & Adams. Yanni, thank you for joining us this evening. I'm not sure if you actually heard the snippet there with, the two comparisons between Ed Sheeran and the other artists. One will argue, the other one was a little bit faster or slower. But when are the lines blurred between inspiration and then copying?
Thank you, Ayanda, for having me. Yes, I did listen to the song and obviously had regard to it when you wrote the article. That is a very good question. So what one has to bear in mind with copyright protection is that the work that you are able to protect has to be original. And then, of course, there has to be a link, a connection between work A and B. And it's actually an objective comparison as to whether the works are similar. And very importantly, although they may sound the same, it does not necessarily amount to infringement. The question is whether a substantial element, the important part of the song was copied. And there are certain requirements that you have to take into consideration in this regard.
And Yanni, when we just bring it back home for a moment, I look about the biggest genre at the moment, Amapiano, and so much of it is so similar. Let's say two artists were to go to court and try to prove that the other one is copying the other. What happens in court for the judge to actually make a decision?
Well, the court will compare the two songs and, more importantly, consider whether there is a link. Did the artist that produced or recorded song B actually have regard to the first song? It can be quite by coincidence that they are similar. And of course, artists do find their inspiration from earlier works. We all have a preference and a history of songs that we like. So being inspired by a song certainly doesn't amount to infringement. It will have to be clear that there was a substantial part of the song taken. The court will consider that, and whether there was actually a link, whether the second artist had regard or could have regard to the first artist's song.
All right. Yanni, before I let you go, is there a time frame for this complaint to happen? Perhaps the song was done 10 years ago, somebody tries to do it now. Can somebody still go to court with this?
Fortunately, with copyright protection, the duration of the copyright is quite long. It is the lifetime of the author and 50 years after his or her death. So no, there is no limitation on time. And that is the nice thing about copyright protection. It's got a lengthy duration, and in fact, it exists automatically. That is something good to know.
All right. Well, Yanni, thank you so much for that. And I guess this is a lesson for the young ones coming up in the game. There's a difference between inspiration, of course, copying as well. That was Yanni Cronje, partner and trademark attorney at Adams.